We have invited you here for a very important briefing, which shall be handled by the national organizer of the party, Lawyer Henry Nanabuachi. Without much ado, I humbly invite Nanabi to take over the podium. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Krobia. Our cherished friends from the media, party executives here present, I bring you greetings from the next President of the Republic, Dr. Alhaj Mahmoud Bawumia, and the leadership of the new Patriotic Party. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, distinguished members of our minority caucus present here, fellow patriots, good morning. In the past few days, those responsible for causing this country some $1.7 billion in just a year, $1.7 billion. I've been working diligently to make you forget about this colossal amount. Let me say the figure again. We are talking about some $1.7 billion. And that is equivalent to 22 billion Ghana cedis. The Akufo-Addo government gold purchasing program, envisioned by Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, aimed to strengthen and support the city. Under this government, it has been turned into a catastrophic, loss-making enterprise. The IMF has exposed them for all to see this. But they will keep trying to bury the fact under insults, under destruction, under noise. So before I speak about this huge money, which we must not forget, and we must continue to ask the hard questions, let me speak about the messenger. You cannot separate the two. When a government sends a man with a documented, repeated, almost compulsive habit of manufacturing falsehood to defend this $1.7 billion hole in the public purse, that itself is a confession. It tells you that they have no defense, only diversion. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I did not come here to insult as others have chosen to engage in. No. I have come here to lay out a record, a documented record, a verifiable and well-established record. Let us begin in 2020. Ghana was in the middle of an election. Into that charged atmosphere, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi told all of us before the cameras, and he insisted again and again, he peddled this falsehood repeatedly, that he had an authentic video, evidence of which President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is receiving $40,000 bribe as a sitting president. He said this on radio, he said this on television, he told Ghanaians on Joy FM that they were not zombies and that the video had not been doctored. He was wrong. He was worse than wrong. Independent reviewers went back to the full unedited footage. They found that the NPP said from day one that the clip was a selective cut fragment of the whole piece. It showed a 2016 campaign donation, 40,000 Ghana cedis, not dollars. given years before Nana Danko Akufo-Addo was even president. The moment used to fake bribe was simply the president pausing to write down a donor's name. Every load-bearing fact in Sammy Gyamfi's accusation collapsed under scrutiny. Yet, he kept to this false narrative. He did not apologize. He did not correct the record. He simply moved to the next fabrication. That is what he is known to be doing best. And let us not forget the actual matter. And all of you, you bear witness. During the intense 2024 campaign, the NDC circles relentlessly amplified what Mr. Sammy Gyamfi put on record. Being one of the loudest voice, they claim that the vice president, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, secretly owned Aptel. The claim suggested that he was personally profiting from the light bills paid by the ordinary Ghanaians. This is Sammy Gyamfi speaking. He lied. He lied. Now, it was designed to make the ordinary Ghanaians believe that their own vice president was picking their pockets every time they topped up electricity credit. Fact checkers went to the royal company's filings at the Registrar General Department. They found no trace of Dr. Bawumia anywhere in Aptel's ownership. None. It was a fiction, dressed as fact, sent out to do political mischief and damage. And it is not the only opponent he turns on. If you recall, in March 2021, his own NDC leadership in Parliament, he turned on his colleagues in Parliament, who at that time had voted according to their conscience on a ministerial nominee. The same person disagreed in a significant and very, very disrespectful way. He went on Facebook, he branded the Speaker of Parliament, the minority leader then, the minority chief whip of his party as traitors. His word was betrayal. He said they sold out the party for selfish interests. He told Ghanaians their shame would be hung like an albatross around their necks. His own general secretary at the time had to publicly correct him. He said the attack came from sheer ignorance of how Parliament works. These are just few examples of what this young man, what his lies and fabrication are up to. Think about that. This is a man who would turn on everyone, his own speaker, his own minority leader, his own chief whip. If he could do that to his own family in NDC, what makes any Ghanaian think that he would tell the truth about 1.7 billion when he so pretended over such massive loss? This is not a man who occasionally gets his facts wrong. For this individual, fabrication is a deliberate strategy. Doctored the video, mistakes the statistics, invent the ownership, manufacture the betrayal, different targets, different years, different subjects, just one method. Repeatedly lie, vilify people. This is not carelessness. This is a pattern. That is not the man who tells the occasional lie. His entire approach to public communication is based on deception and lies. When the minority leader and his colleagues asked hard, fair questions about $1.7 billion loss in the public interest on behalf of every Ghanaian taxpayer, how did the NDC and Sammy Gyamfi respond? He did not sit with the documents and answer them page by page in good faith. He stood on government platform at the seat of the president himself, the Jubilee House, and the series meant to promote transparency and accountability. And he used that platform to insult and vilify. He called the concerns of the elected representative of this country reckless. He called them bereft of facts and common sense. He called them barefaced liars before he had even finished laying out his facts. Ladies and gentlemen, that platform does not belong to Mr. Gyamfi. It does not belong to NDC. It belongs to the presidency of the Republic of Ghana. It belongs to every Ghanaian. When a public officer takes the platform and uses it to insult and vilify the minority in parliament, instead of answering them, he does not disrespect one man, but the entire parliamentary group. He disrespects the office of the presidency. He disrespects the institution of parliament. He disrespects every Ghanaian who was watching, waiting for real answers about their $1.7 billion. A president who is supposed to believe in decorum has a duty here. A president who believes in respect for the Ghanaian people has a duty here. When an appointee turns a platform built for accountability into a stage of insults, a president who values or who is supposed to value decorum does not wait. He must act. So now you understand why the New Patriotic Party will not accept what Goldbod says is the final word on how the country lost $1.7 billion. You recall, under the New Patriotic Party, when the NDC were in opposition, through some economic decisions, the Bank of Ghana then, you remember that we were going through some hard times regarding our economy. We lost some 14 million. They branded the Bank of Ghana governor as a criminal. They branded the NPP as a group of criminals. They staged several demonstrations. Today, we are talking about $1.7 billion. And indeed, this loss is already accepted. In fact, what they intend to do is to divert your minds. Sammy says it is not Goldbod. Bank of Ghana says yes, it is in our books. That is what they are saying. So there is a loss. There is a loss to your money, the public purse. There is a loss. So if few years back you branded the entire NPP as criminals, when we were talking about some 40 million Ghana cedis or so, today we are talking about $1.7 billion, 22 billion Ghana cedis. Let us be clear on the fact that there is no dispute. The IMF's own report, not the NPP's report, nor the minority report, recorded losses of more than $1.7 billion in 2025. This was under the domestic gold purchase program, an arrangement where Goldbod acted as buying agent for Bank of Ghana. And you see, the reason why I'm so concerned about this is that we were told that this Goldbod, you recall that the processes leading to the enactment of the Goldbod Act was one of the fastest in the history of Ghana's parliament. One of the fastest, because we were told that this was a game changer. This was going to save us money. This was going to benefit the ordinary Ghanaian. And just less than 2 years after the enactment of Gold Act, and in fact, they have been given the mandate to be the sole buyers, sole sellers. In fact, they determine the price of gold. They are the sole exporters of gold. You have been given such huge mandate, yet you are costing us 1.7 billion in just 1 year. And you want to play some games. Oh, it is not in our books. Oh, nowhere in the report did the IMF say that Goldbod caused this debt. What are we talking about? We must be serious in this country. In the media, we must ask the hard questions. It is BOG Goldbod loss. They have caused us all these losses. And we cannot pretend. We cannot insult everybody. When we have lost such colossal amount of money, and we are insulting everybody. Answer the hard questions. Some years back, you stayed demonstration because of some 40 million Ghana cedis or so. And today we are talking about 22 billion Ghana cedis. And you are insulting everybody. You think you are going to stop? We are not. We will ask the hard questions. And if you vilify the minority leader, if you call him names, I am happy that Osahini Alexander Ato-Nyomaken instituted a civil action against them. That is a court matter. I will not be interrogating that matter here. But that fact, the 1.7 billion debt, it cannot be swept under the carpet of insult, vilification. It cannot. Ladies and gentlemen, whether every city of blame sits with Goldbod or the Bank of Ghana or both institutions acting together, that is precisely the question the minority is demanding answers to. The Ghanaian people deserve those answers in full. It was not a press conference of insults. That is not what we are talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, the laws will not simply sit quietly on the balance sheet of Bank of Ghana annual report. It will be looking for every one of you. It will be looking for all of us. It is our loss. Economists have already warned Ghanaians plainly. When the Bank of Ghana's own equity is driven into the negative by losses of this size, it is a taxpayer, not Goldbod, who is called upon to recapitalize the central bank. Your cedi, your taxes, Goldbod's own decision created the hole that needed patching, yet their books conveniently shows no loss at all. You are given 133 billion Ghana cedis to go and buy gold. This is so simple. Now, when you came back, you have lost 22 billion Ghana cedis out of it. And you are saying that we should not ask questions. You are given 133 billion Ghana cedis by Bank of Ghana. Bank of Ghana gave you those monies. Go and buy gold. You are the sole buyer. You are the sole seller. Go and buy gold. Now you took this money, 133 billion Ghana cedis. You bought gold and you came back with 22 billion Ghana cedi loss. That is precisely why Ghanaian people are entitled to a full and honest disaggregation of this $1.7 billion. How much of this loss came from foreign exchange differentials? We ask. As the cedi and the dollar moved against each other, how much came from the actual prices which Goldbod bought this gold and the prices at which it was later sold? We deserve to know this as well. 3. And what considerations, what judgment, what analysis informed the management decision behind those transactions? We deserve to know. Ghanaians are not asking for favors. They are asking for the truth about their money before it is taken from their pocket a second time to rescue the very institution that lost it initially. Let me bring this home. $1 billion dollars in numbers. Numbers can seem a bit distant from you. Let me tell you what $1 billion actually means to this country. No money for hospitals. Agenda 111 is on hold. In most places, it's been covered by weeds. In most places, it's turned into a forest. And we have Bank of Ghana and Goldbod costing this country 22 billion Ghana cedis. No money for roads. Look, some of us who use the Accra Kumasi road, and I'm sure a lot of you use that road a lot. It's a death trap now. Now, you would have to use about 8 hours, 9 hours, in some cases 10 hours to get to Kumasi. Why? Because we have abandoned the Kumasi-Accra project, the dualization of this road. We need money, yet we have lost 22 billion Ghana cedis. There's no funding available for employment of our youth. They promised 1 job, 3 shifts. Now their own youth are lamenting. The NDC youth, they are lamenting. Now you have an NDC MP who says that you should now go into Indomie selling. They are unable to provide jobs for the youth. Yet we have an institution that has caused us $1.7 billion loss, 22 billion Ghana cedis. There is enough exposure, enough appetite, and enough mismanagement to cause losses of 1.7 billion in a single year when we are faced with a lot of economic challenges. This same government's incompetence and its policy dissonance have allowed illegal mining to explode across the country. Our water bodies are dying. Our farmlands are poisoned. Our forest reserves are being torn apart. Even our oceans are feeling the damage. And I can tell you, Galamsey is now worse because of Goldbod. And they themselves, they have indirectly admitted that. Galamsey is worse off now. His Excellency the President himself says that his own people into Galamsey. I don't know what he has done about that. But Goldbod can tell you now is the cause of the environmental destruction we are seeing. They are now responsible for Galamsey. I'm telling you, it's a fact. Here in plain truth, as we speak, Goldbod cannot tell the difference between gold bought from legal, licensed source or gold dug up by illegal miners, tearing apart our forests and our rivers. Sammy Gyamfi himself admitted on live television that some of Goldbod's own licensed buyers may be doing exactly the wrong thing. Serious voices from the Chamber of Mines to the NPP members in Parliament have asked the same questions again and again. If Goldbod is not buying Galamsey gold, then who is it? To this day, there is no honest answer, only excuses about systems that are still being built, promises for the future, and denials for the present. And what does the government tell Ghanaians instead? It tells us that Ghana is now the 6th leading gold producer in the entire world. It parades that ranking as a triumph. But it does not tell us the true cost of that ranking. It fails to inform us that illegal mining has now polluted over 60% of our water bodies. It fails to mention that some rivers are so choked with silt. It fails to mention that some rivers are so choked with silt that Ghana water has to do, in some cases, shut down treatment plants entirely because the water flowing is simply so dirty that it cannot be treated. It fails to mention that the cost of treating our water bodies could climb past 17 billion cedis by year 2030. All because we cannot protect our rivers that provide us water in the first place. And it does not tell us about many Ghanaians' lives lost already. We were told by Ashanti Regional Minister that we've lost some 23 lives. 23 lives to Galamsey activities. 23 lives. So Ghanaians are being poisoned twice over. We are being poisoned through the contaminated food we eat, the water we drink, and the air we breathe. And we are being poisoned a second time financially because billions of cedis that could have gone into the pocket of Ghanaian people as their fair share of the gold boom are instead lost to, among many other things, illegal buying into a system that still cannot trace 1 gram of gold back to its true source. This is happening under the NDC. So while in opposition, made illegal mining their signature course, the NDC did not just talk about Galamsey from studio in Accra. They actually stood, for example, at the river banks, holding press conferences after press conferences, painting themselves as the outstanding defenders of our water bodies, our forests, and our lands. They accused the NPP of destroying this country's natural resources and told Ghanaians to vote the NPP out. We never knew that they were going to put a structure in place that will cause us so much harm. That is the Goldbod. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the NPP is out. The NDC is in. And illegal mining by every honest measure is worse today than the day they stood on the banks of the river and pointed their fingers at us. Today, NDC continues to heavily poison the rivers they once wept for on camera. The Goldbod and the Bank of Ghana have failed on both counts. Our rivers are dying. Our people are getting sick. And now we learn that on top of all of that, 1.7 billion has vanished as well. This is not incompetence. This is not leadership as well. Let me say this boldly and plainly, that the entire leadership of the New Patriotic Party, including the presidential candidate, we are fully behind the minority. On behalf of the entire New Patriotic Party, there is no confusion anywhere. We are fully behind the mighty minority. The New Patriotic Party stands fully, completely, and unreservedly behind our mighty minority caucus in Parliament, led by Honorable Alexander Afenyomakin. We wholeheartedly support each member of our minority caucus in this struggle. We back their questions, we back their scrutiny, we back their demand for full, transparent account of how a state institution charged with buying and protecting Ghana's gold ended up presiding over such huge losses of this magnitude. This is not partisan politics. This is a national duty. Whoever governs this country is answerable to the people who elected them. They are answerable to every dollar of the people's money that passes through their hands. And let me be equally plain about what comes next. We are not backing off, not now, not tomorrow, not until every question is answered in full and in public and under proper scrutiny. We also say this to the minority leader and every member of the caucus. Use every relevant law in the books, every question on the floor of Parliament, every committee hearing, every request for documents, every request for document, every order paper, every point of order. Utilize every relevant tool provided by the standing orders in our Parliament with confidence. The parliament belongs to the people of Ghana, not to the convenience of whoever is in the office. Make sure you are very strong in the committee, very strong on the floor of parliament. Fight for the people of Ghana in the court of public opinion as well. Fight until the Ghanaian people receive all the answers they deserve in writing, under oath if necessary. The New Patriotic Party remain vigilant. Our minority caucus will not look away. We call on every Ghanaian watching, listening, and reading this today. Do not look away either. Demand your own answers. Demand truth. Thank you and God bless you. Abusiafo, Madama, and that's your friend over her. Our brother, any day, Nancy, I think, come out, Ecoso. Said, no, you did who hurry. Eddie, a young Jumedia by a friend Goldbod. Said, I know a Yagana, a Jinkwan. Nona, Edama Ghana, Eddie ye. And Nona, Edama Ghana, every Nyayum, Eco Nyayum. In fact, Yachiri Ghana for you answer. Say, Jumakua, a bit to me at gold. Ne bet to me at gold. Ne bet to me at the gold who you made your piano. Oh, gold body. You are prepared for Kuman Adimbra. Share gold body, I say. Bye. In Tiana, Omope, and no more talk, Sikako. Omope, and no more do Hujuma. What better who you may be our Ghana have been answered? Why need to me and from what? What's Yambra? And yet, you decide 2 million now, more. Omokoton Goda, Omokoboka 1.7 billion. Now, minority in parliament, Busa Wasem, 1.7 billion, Busa for a year 22 billion Ghana cedis. Yakam Wasamo, Akoya did Yakam, Akoya Sopao, Akoya dear Tro, I can some fee at your goon, Daddy. Yan Chasiada, and then I am a Fasam Macron, Abusia. And your NPP report, and your minority in parliament report, and your name Nanabi me report. And your IMF the Diababa Tuga. Say Bank of Ghana and Goldbod a book a kikiri die 1.7 billion you go Ghana for so. Now you go to someone. And where him yansa, and now where you were from, and now where we knew who can so busa to me. Acquire did your term. Yes, super nipa. Sansa ye pese ye Gyamfi asemna poteno asemna say ya ma utumi se kona koton sika kokko wakoboka na no abra ye call covid mu na bi hihyeya na emu odin de baaye na ewiase nyina na ehu na mane na Russia Ukraine war ma Ghana nyina si apini Bank of Ghana hihyeya ya omo support Ghana edwumedie ye boka by 40 million Ghana cedis or so. And this is very sorry. I can say Bank of Ghana penny power or a criminal. Now boka a Yahoo demonstration and we are talking about 22 billion Ghana cedis. 22 billion Ghana cedis. And I boka memma Sammy na adwen say baby a wotie no no sika hwe no ho waketua ye ne etua sa hodam ye ne etua wala wanse sa hodo ye ne etua utu kwan a ye ne etua Ghana fo na ye bo ho kase di sa adwuma no na wo kona akobɔ ka ne ebusa wa woti kwa apai wo da dan ye didi atem wo da ne didi atem. Like in your Goldbod, I'm not gonna say I get tan I basa. Goldbod you. And then I'm saying you are Tony Gold at my Goldbod. I'm saying we are gonna say be a Tony Gold at my Goldbod. And I'm not gonna say yet to me Shano. And then the president actually said we are everywhere now and now with impunity. And Kofu, I'm gonna say ya and more ya. So fa asrafo kwa ho nine was among fa ho in some instances nine was for no kwa galamsey for the boy ni omo ko ntokwa no mo kwakopata everywhere galamsey agensam president nankasa jatu say NDC for penny for na ye galamsey Goldbod to me ya de ma Goldbod sen ko ma na Ghana ni yie na o ma Ghana si apinie na e ko bi sa ho asama wo ti kwa pai who did you tell? Now in try we do go you ram ba omiaso say after ne dia nso na nye ne dia onim ho hwe o kan ye di tro kan ye now you ra akufuado we did tro di go ni so so akwaje bribe $40,000 now we dey ne what ba be ye aban nipa ye bon hoka Listen, asemo ba na ye busa wo ho asemo a wati kwa pai to po ayampe didi atem hwe no you give us answers mo be buo mo be di ano say ni tino mo fefe di kikan sam didi atem na Ghana for we free no the media you should never forget this I'm telling you come when fi da e mo musika e musika e obi asika ene Ghana water o ma to mo se guwiem ensu a also mutwiti community min treaty ene ye nuane aye poisoned ene cocoa farms enipa tom cocoa farms said ye garam say ene ensu na dani akeche ensu na NDC foko gina ho ana mo si eni dani brown ene pa de ye say ensu no ho dani akeche dani akeche Mijnahama, the new patriotic party. Now, me can't somewhere na my case in the Asan said 2 years Kwame, the presidential candidate, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and the party leaders who said the entire party, we are fully behind yet Dom Kumanechi. Jumet Yomudi Yeni so. And some Omubusan Yeni so. Ko so no mundi say djuma no na ya na me answer eye NDC for say ebra ya koto abama mo a omunya amadodo bebre o mahye bedwam no mu say nya amadodo na ene ye Ramahama ye president no Ghana ya to amamo ya nton Ghana amamo omu tin fa Ghana no mu yabi ya mo da Ghana don ko mi amawo ya de Ghana ma o se bra be hwe so ene feka ya bo ye nya sika emfa nya agenda 111 agenda bo ko ebra dan kwaye. In most cases, maybe up to 70%, 80%. I think yes, you can't find here. And she acquired about 22 billion Ghana cedis. And to coin for in crying, you cook Kumasi. So the whole quite a year weekend be about. I'm saying, I'm going to make on here by me and San Nino. And no one, if you are not feeling cool, a do. Yes, in this guy, a day yet, dualization, 7 year trap, and the year we could for our shares here. Ye tremuno ye see any sika de anso yakobo ka baby 22 billion Ghana cedis and maburu ya binya wo de senka NPP maburu kwa na won pa adwuma ya wa wo NDC fo enya adwuma nye ba wo she bo se adwuma ba ko enipa miensa na ba ebi kwa homache ebi kwa nopa ebi ko anwumre and MP NDC MP wose maburu nkoton indomie na nyuma biya ni ho omi kreti hwe ene omu bubu schools bubu adaya eye commercial ene esi ediba be si bibi e friend 24-hour market na wo ko 24-hour secretariat a opanye gusita no da na ko bi so mo se ni esi mu na mu si market yo se yebo ye ni mu hwe o emfiri akache nso ye sen hema e de esi na ya hinisika 22 billion Ghana cedis, $1.7 billion. Monsieur, the mighty minority, Munya Kukudro party Tamachi, Munya Resemu party Tamachi, Munya Jumadi party Tamachi, Munkun Komani party Tamachi, and Muhuna at the Diatab, and somebody said, Be and one of my also a Timmy Kamoshe. Debbie, etimin kayenche. We are the elephant family. And then you way in the baby you. The wakukudro. And then ye busa and someone. A whole platform I say ye di bu akonta o. Munti o senso for. A whole platform ye create your presidency. O mampani Muhammad Ankasa kachi yes ye di bu akonta ache Ghana for no. Ababa ye platform ye di atem. Ye di super Ghana for a busa nsem ade. Busa for beda mo ase. Be sese mo fan sempa no ko. Na mo kan che ye wa Muhammad say yes no Ghana for a penchemu Ghana for a pair. And some very no $1.7 billion. It's a huge money in 1 year. In 1 year. In 1 year, near Busa Obi to Twayampia. Now Goldbod near the Batama Bogana Foka. Yamo Obi to me on Quanto Gold in Ghana. Or no Quanya Bibi Ghana has say. Now Yamoka 1.7 near the Babere. If CMO 133 billion, Fokoto Gold, Ebra. Now by our Bohoka 22 billion. When you be a more siwa, what's I a bonochrono? What are you talking about? Miss Remo, Yama Nimbre was a Jumadi. Yamin Shamo, or Yamokese, NPP Damasi, Ghana Damasi. Please.